stops us in our tracks. Bravely we prove in our striving, trudging together each day. Where there's a will, there's a way.
All right. Good morning. Today starts with an S, so it works out better. Happy Sober Saturday. This doesn't quite work with the other days. Happy Sober Monday. See? Happy Sober Tuesday. Put that Tuesday. Tuesday. Yeah. Good old Saturday morning. Hopefully we'll get people here shortly. We'll get started. Today's is on tradition 7, but I'm going to go into a little bit deeper about what the worth of sobriety is. But in this case, worth means money. Money. All right. So, where's my friends? Friends. Well, we'll have at least one person. That's all that matters. There they are. Hi, Michelle. See, I told you we'd have at least one person. I was just going to ask my wife to jump on, so I at least had a one up there. But you're good, babe. Don't worry about it. All right. Good. Read the book. Yeah, there'll be a new book out. Some people have been reading it. I even had a friend of mine where if it wasn't good, she would have told me. Because she's like, your front cover sucks. So I don't like your front cover. Okay. So working on some different front covers. I'm going to put a little thing in the beginning now because I didn't write it per se. And I'm feeling kind of fake. But I'm working on it. But so those books are written by ChatGPT. Let's just be clear. All right. I want people thinking I write like that or that I even talk. Actually, that is kind of how I talk. So what I did is I took the transcripts from several of my videos and I'm turning my videos and transcribing them into books. And that's what I'm currently doing. And I'm going to sell those books. I'm creating a series of books. They're going to be anywhere from 15 to 30 pages long. They'll be nice, easy reads. They'll be funny. I tell you now, do not let your children read these books. Just like my YouTube, do not let your children under 15 listen to me. Not unless you want them running around swearing. All right. Entirely up to you. Okay, but I'm slightly salty. All right. I'm a little salty, but let's get started. We're hitting that 4-minute mark. So let's get it going. How to get hot again today. I'm not liking it. It's like going outside and I'm melting. I'm like the Wicked Witch of the West who just got water thrown on her out there. I'm melting. And everybody should get that now that Wicked's out. All right. My grandkids love that movie. I suffered. I suffered through that movie. It was not made for Gen Xers. If you're here, please say hello, whether you're watching the live or the rewatch. Good morning, Sam. And it's good to see you. Well, no, good afternoon to you also. It's afternoon for you too. If you did not catch Sam's story, then you need to get your ass over to trudgingtogether.org and listen to her story, Podbean, anything. Yeah, go check it out. Go check it out. Shell says, oh, thank you for reminding me. I started reading and went squirrel. Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. Fair enough. I skimmed through it myself. I said it all. I don't need to. I'm letting other people review it right now. All right. So, Where does it say we need to go here? The worth of sobriety. Now, keep in mind, we are talking about tradition 7, but so we're going to be talking about money. I ain't going to stick on that topic for very long. I'm just not gonna. Okay, I'm gonna get to like what the real worth of sobriety is, because that's probably why you came here. When it said worth, you weren't thinking money, but this was written a while ago, right? So we'll get to the part that you want to, and it's a much interesting talk than money. It really is. So we go to page 160 in the big book. Is that tradition 7? That's awfully far back for how the traditions are very long. Yeah, it is. It's literally tradition 7. All right. I'm not going to read this whole thing. We're not going to cover this whole thing. We're going to get into some of it so that people understand the tradition. I'll get into little nuances, things like that, right? Now, so tradition 7, AA, every AA group ought to be fully self-supporting, declining outside contributions. So first off, if you go to an open meeting and you are not an alcoholic, you cannot put money in the basket. Let's say I go to an Al-Anon meeting, but I am not an Al-Anon. I do not get to put money in the basket. I am not a member of that group. I'm there to educate things or get educated, things like that. So really, unless you are an AA member, you cannot put money in the basket. And here is why. Self-supporting alcoholics, well, who ever heard of such a thing? Yet we find that we have to be. This principle is telling evidence of the profound change that AA wrought in all of us. Everybody knows that active alcoholics scream that they have no troubles money can't cure. Bullshit. I'm going to call bullshit on that. Always we've had our hands out. Time out of mind, we've been dependent upon someone, usually money-wise, when society composed entirely of alcoholics says it's going to pay its bills. Well, that's really news. All right? AA is broke. In the grassroots, we have what's called a prudent reserve. We paid our Zoom for 1 year because it was the cheapest way to do it. Okay. So we're confident that we're going to be around for a year, and we will be. Okay. Something really, unless, the internet dies or something, so it's going to continue on, and it needs money to kind of continue on. Not as much money as an in-person meeting where you have to pay rent, things like that. But even then, the in-person meeting that we run, we pay no rent. It is a community thing being done. So community reach center and grassroots pay for that meeting to be put on. It is a service that we provide. So really, what are we doing? When we utilize money to reach newcomers, we're doing good. Beyond that, we don't need any money. We don't need it. What do we need it for? Right? What if we went for government grants and all this? Then AA itself would be destroyed. Its primary purpose would be lost in that money. That's what would happen. We got not only that, but we have to take away these things that alcoholics love to argue about, like money. You want to know the number one argument in any group conscious? It's always fucking money. Well, 90% of the time it's money, right? Probably no AA tradition had the labor pains this one did. In early times, we were all broke. When you add this to the habitual supposition that people ought to give money to alcoholics trying to stay sober, it can be understood why we thought we deserved a pile of folding money. What great things AA would be able to do with it. But oddly enough, people who had thought otherwise, they figured it was high time now, sober paid our own way. So our fellowship stayed poor because it had to. These are good lessons to learn. Look at everything going on right now. POTUS is taking everybody's money. They're all freaking out. They were dependent. That's why I've been running around telling people, you know what? There are plenty of programs out there that are free. They are not dependent upon money. And I say there are some out there. AA is not the only one. That's why I say that. There's Celebrate Recovery. There's Smart Recovery. There's Wellbriety. There's There's a good 7 or 8 of them out there, man, just depending on what route you would like to take. And these are legitimate ones where time has proven. AA's been around for 90 years. People are like, and they use that to say, well, it's antiquated. No, because it works. It's not antiquated. We are no smarter in 2025 than they were in 1940. Evolution doesn't work that quickly. Our life is more convenient. We have more stuff. We have more material things to play with. Sure, we have advanced, but that doesn't mean we're smarter. If anything, I would have to say, man, we're slightly lazier because of all the convenience. All right, like the plain language big book. What the fuck is that? The big book is already written in plain English. The fact is, people are too lazy to even go to their fucking phone and look up a word. That's what the fact is. That part is opinion only, by the way. I'm sure I've read some of it, and it just does not jive, man. It doesn't have the same feeling. The big book gives me a feeling of hope because it was divinely inspired. The plain English big book was not. It was forced. And that's why I'm not big on it. I like the natural way. All right. But at the same time, if it's going to help people get and stay sober, that's great. But you are going to lose some things. You're going to lose a lot of stuff. Like there's going to be stuff that isn't said in the meetings anymore that we've been using for years. But AA's job is also to be malleable, right? There's a balance in there, and that's why we vote on things. I'm off topic. There was another reason for our collective poverty. It was soon apparent that while alcoholics would spend lavishly on 12-step cases, they had a terrible aversion to dropping money in a meeting pocket. All right. So alcoholics were a little weird about putting money in the basket. Feels a little churchy, doesn't it? Yeah, it does. Absolutely. It feels like the collection plate because it is. Alcoholics Anonymous is based on Christian stuff. Yes, it is. In fact, if it would have been up to Bill, the whole darn thing would have been Christian. But thank God for Dr. Bob and the old timers who said, nope, this is for everybody. And Bill finally caught on. He was a pretty, Bill was a cool dude, but it was Dr. Bob that leveled him out. Right? Right. So what they're talking about is people would go out. It's when we get to make a decision. I'll tell you what it is. When I go out and I do a 12-step job, I get to decide how my money is spent. It's a mental thing. When I put it in the basket, it's now out of my control and makes me feel powerless, and alcoholics don't like that. That's why. There's a clinical reason for it. Ain't listed in here. It's just something I've kind of figured out. Why? Because I go through the same thing. I won't put money in the basket that donates to the central office here in Denver because I don't feel like they're doing the right things. I'm not going to support it, and I don't have to. I send my money to other places like the GSO. So, which I am allowed to do, right? All right. So we're done. We're done with this. Let's get to the more fun stuff. That's making me fun. But we got to read the reflections too, just because we got to stay consistent, right? We got to do the same stuff. So when I go shopping, I look at the prices, and if I need what I see, I buy and pay. I buy it and pay. Now that I am supposed to be in rehabilitation, I've straightened out my life. When I go to a meeting, I take coffee with sugar and milk, sometimes more than one. But at collection time, I'm either too busy to take money out of my purse or I do not have enough. But I am there because I need this meeting. You're drinking the coffee. See, that's another expense Zoom doesn't have. It's one of the reasons I kind of like Zoom. All right. Not that I don't like in person too. In person, they'll be my, yeah, of course I do. I have some other things going on. It's hard for me to do that. So I'm either too busy to take money out of my purse or I do not have enough. But I'm here because I need this meeting. Yeah. Morning, Daryl. Daryl says, morning. Bill had anger issues. Yeah, he did. Yeah. He had short man syndrome. He had short man syndrome. He wasn't very tall. I think he was like 4 foot. He was a little bit taller than that, but I think he was a little bit over 5 foot. Like, I think my first wife is barely shorter than him, and she's 4'9.5". Yes, we're having fun at Bill's expense. Thanks. Sam says, thanks for the reminder to make coffee. I had to remind you of that. Man, you are far advanced in your rehabilitation. Coffee is the first thing I do. I make coffee before I talk to God because coffee is God. Oh, you sweet, sweet nectar. All right. Right. So we got plenty of money for other things. But when it comes to a group that's going to save our lives, man. So not only that, but I don't really have. I think my account has 32 cents in it. So I don't have any money. I don't. In fact, the grassroots meeting makes a lot more money than I do. So what do I utilize? I utilize my time. I utilize my time is what I do. So if I don't have the money, then I give time because there's a sacrifice being made. And sacrifice doesn't have to be a bad word. But I'm going to tell you the worth of sobriety is not money. It's time. It is taking time for other people. Daryl says, short, just another relatable. I'm sorry, Daryl, I didn't even think of that. All right. I heard someone suggest dropping the price of a beer into the basket, and I thought that's too much. I almost never give it $1. This is a little bit older, just so you know. Like many others, I rely on the more generous members to finance the fellowship. I forgot that it takes money to rent the meeting room, buy milk, sugar, and cups. I will pay without hesitation 90 cents for a cup of coffee at a restaurant after the meeting. I always have money for that. So how much is my sobriety and my inner peace worth? Now, that feels like a guilt trip, and I ain't going to go for it. No, I ain't going to go for it. See, when you go out there and you do things for the community and you just give to the community, I'm going to tell you something. Something really weird happens. They give back. I have people in my life like people that do financial stuff, right? My friend Mark. I can reach out to my friend Mark at any time and ask him a financial question, and he will answer me. Everybody else he charges $500 for. If I need a meeting room, all I need to do is speak up, and people are like, "Here you go." Well, how much do you want? Nothing. I want nothing from you. You already do enough. These are the things that start to happen to you when you utilize your time and people see the effort that you put in. And that is the worth of sobriety. What is an actual worth of sobriety? Me showing up at 2:00 in the morning to a place because somebody is in pain and they don't want to continue drinking anymore. That is the worth of sobriety. Michelle says grassroots makes more money than another meeting I go to, and there's like 46 members on average. Right. Now the thing is so my phone tells me whoever has, and I should probably turn that off. Daryl, you son of a bitch. Thank you, Daryl. All right. And even then, I shouldn't have just done that. I apologize. I just blew anonymity. I shouldn't have done that. It tells me, but I don't put it to mind. I don't. We had one person in grassroots, they were giving too much. And I'm like, no, 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 slow down. Slow your roll there. He's like, but I have it. I'm like, that's great. But the meeting don't need that much. It doesn't matter who the person is, right? See, it all evens out in the end. It all evens out in the end, right? So let's do an AI overview on this. All right. What is the worth of sobriety? All right. And it's going to give us something. We're not going to talk about money. Right. So we're done with the money portion. Let's get to the actual fun part of this. Thank you for letting me do that. Just sometimes those things need to be done so we understand a little bit better. And I appreciate people like Sam being here, even though, you know, some people may not go to AA, they still lead people to AA. And the more we know, just like I went out of my way to find out about Celebrate Recovery, I went to some meetings, right? Actually, Celebrate Recovery is awesome. It is. Okay. But there's no structure and it drives me crazy. I couldn't take it. There's no structure and it's too much for me. So I couldn't handle it. But great group, Smart Recovery. I went to a few of those, little too analytical for me, too clinical, right? But I went to check them out. Because if I run across somebody who's like, maybe they had maybe something happened to them from another AA member and going to AA is a little traumatic for them right now. I try and meet people where they're at, right? All right. It's okay. I yell at the cats and go, yeah, I'm sorry I had to mute and yeah. Because we all know about the 4 cats. But my niece is moving in. So you're going to be seeing a dog also. Her name is Storm. All right. Anyway, all right. If you haven't figured out, we're kind of animal people. So sobriety is incredibly valuable, offering profound improvements in physical, mental well-being, relationships, overall quality of life. It's a journey that, while challenging, leads to a more fulfilling and enriching existence. Hi, Amber. Good to see you. Amber is currently running her child's 6th birthday party. Happy birthday to Isaac. Good job, young man. You are a year older. Enjoy it while you can. All right. So, here's a breakdown of worth. Improve physical health. Sobriety allows the body to heal from the damaging effects of substance abuse, reducing the risk of chronic disease like liver and heart problems and certain cancers. The problem is alcohol attacks everything in the body. All your major organs are affected. Now, thankfully, like when I got here, it was liver transplant time. 6 months to live. So that's what I was told. You got 6 months to live. Right? I did not end up needing a liver transplant, and my liver is healed. Now, granted, I'm 9 years sober, and I had to do a lot of work on that. My kidneys, my heart. Okay, the only one that doesn't heal is the brain. What the brain does is it creates new synapses, it creates new neural pathways. When one neural pathway dies, it's dead. It is not coming back from that. But we can create new ones, right? There are parts of my memory, they're just gone. It kind of sucks. Okay. Thankfully, I have my wife, and you know how it is. She's my wife. So she fucking knows everything, right? So there we go. Purely a joke, okay? You'll learn to learn. I very much love my wife, but if you think that she's off limits for giving crap, no way. It can lead to better sleep, increased energy levels, and improved physical fitness. In the first 28 days, a lot of things are going to happen. One of those is going to be a good night's sleep, and you haven't had a good night's sleep in years. I'll give you the short one on that one. When you drink, you don't dream. When you don't dream, you don't REM. When you don't REM, you go cuckoo. You go psychotic. A good night's sleep. One day you'll wake up and half your problems will be gone because they didn't exist. You made them up. That was my experience. So a good night's sleep. That's probably going to happen within the first, wait for it, 28 days. 28 days is the key. An ounce an hour for normal drinkers, not for alcoholics. We in that sense, we are bodily different. Our bodies process alcohol differently. That is why you can see a 90-pound young lady outdrink a 200-pound man. The tolerance level is different. It takes longer for alcohol to leave our body. Not only that, but when you drink every day, then what happens? Then it compounds, right? I was like, I never drink and drive. Bullshit. When I got up in the morning, I was still drunk when I drove to work. I was still drunk from the night before. But to me, that was normal. That was normal. Now, anything below that, I'd start shaking and I would need alcohol to bring me back to normal. And that's when it gets really dangerous. That's the 6 months to live kind of shit. All right. Skin and hair can also improve with better hydration, overall well-being. The other thing is you're probably going to gain weight. People tend to gain weight when they get sober. Okay. It's okay. You're going to have a chance to kind of lose that weight. And here's the thing. Okay. Yes, working out is important and exercising is important, but you best take care of your spiritual malady first. Exercising can't become the new addiction. I see it a lot. Look how great I look. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Great. Would you work on your self-esteem now? Because that's the problem. These people running around with half their clothes off, trying to sell people sobriety. These people have low self-esteem. I know it. I can see it. Because that's the kind of shit I would do when I want your attention. Yeah. Daryl says, I realize AA doesn't have exclusivity on recovery, and I too went to other meetings from other program. I wasn't comfortable there. Same for NA, CMA, so NA's Narcotics Anonymous. I'm not sure what CMA is. Country Music Awards. CA's Cocaine Anonymous. CMA. I should be able to crack meth addiction or crack meth anonymous. I don't know. I'm guessing at that one. All right. Enhance mental and emotional health. Now you got a good night's sleep. There's already half of it gone, right? Substance abuse often exacerbates mental health issues like depression and anxiety. Sobriety can significantly reduce these symptoms and promote emotional stability. All right. Every alcoholic that walks into AA or any other program is already clinically depressed. You walked in. Oh, crystal meth anonymous. Okay. I should have caught that. My brain's still saying country music awards. Too many TLAs in this world, man. Too many. TLA means 3-letter acronym. It's a geek joke. And if you're a geek, you're laughing at it. If you're not a geek, you're like, Dion, what are you talking about? All right. So everybody walks in with clinical depression. Why is that? Alcohol is a depressant. That's why. It has nothing to do with your life. It's the fact that you were guzzling a depressant for years, and now you are clinically depressed because of it. Right? What's worse beyond that is when you drink, it does give the excitement and things like that. But the dangerous part is it goes through the reward center. So you're rewarding yourself for whatever stupid behavior you had, and you're double downing on your depression. Plus, we're not solving our problems. Now, this can mostly go away. It'll go away in the first 6 months. Okay. These are what we call, it's called PAWS, post-acute withdrawal symptoms. I'm not sure symptoms is correct. You're not necessarily withdrawing. It's just going to take a little while for some of this other stuff to start to work again, right? In the beginning, you're probably going to eat a lot of sugar. Well, sugar is going to kind of be careful with that one, but it's better to pop a Jolly Rancher in your mouth than, a bottle of vodka. That, because part of what you're craving when you're detoxing is sugar. Okay. Alcohol is 80% sugar. Hello. All right. So now we're doing this. Now we're up and down. Woo, 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 woo. And we wonder why it's insane. Well, there we go. So the key is this, and it's something that's going to be actually in the next book. Well, at some point we'll talk about self-diagnosis in those books, right? But so post-acute withdrawal. So that is why you are not supposed to be diagnosed with anything in the first 6 months of your sobriety. Okay. Alcoholism looks like other mental illnesses. Let's cover those real quick. It can look like bipolar. It can look like schizophrenia, narcissism. I'm not going to say toxic. That's name calling. Looks like depression. It looks like ADHD. It looks like PTSD. It looks like all of these things. So when somebody goes to a therapist and they're not being honest that they're an alcoholic, what we get is a misdiagnosis. And that's why you end up with alcoholics with bipolar disease who really don't have I'm just using an example. Okay. There's some, right? All right. So Michelle says, wouldn't CMA fit into NA? I don't know. Well, I do know. Yes, but at the same time, then wouldn't alcoholism be NA? Right? They're keeping them separate. Maybe crystal meth does a little something different to you. Maybe the feeling's different. Maybe the actions are a little bit different. Not only that, but I think the main reason is this: choices. That way it gives people choices on where they can go. And that's a good thing too. So I think it mostly comes down to choice. Right? It can lead to increased self-esteem and a greater sense of control and improved mental clarity. Sobriety allows individuals to address underlying issues that may have contributed to substance abuse in the first place. All right. I'm going to cover one more, which is a greater sense of purpose and fulfillment, because that is the true worth of sobriety to me. Sobriety can help individuals rediscover a sense of purpose and meaning of life, moving beyond the cycle of substance abuse. We were full of fear. We couldn't seem to be of real use to other people. We didn't feel useful. Even when we had the best of intentions and maybe somebody would give us a compliment we knew we didn't deserve. We knew we didn't earn it. That all leads back to that. But when you start doing esteemable things, your self-esteem goes up. What are esteemable things? Doing things for other people without expecting anything in return. Isn't it weird that your self-esteem is based on helping other people? Huh. And then what happens? Then you get the dividends: joy, serenity, peace of fucking mind. It works. It works very well for me. It's getting out of self that raises my self-esteem. I do esteemable things, and people see it. So therefore, when I need something done, it gets taken care of because I give a lot. The give-take relationship, it's kind of what happens. Give-take relationship between me and my higher power. All right. It allows individuals to pursue hobbies, interests and goals they were previously neglected, or maybe they just couldn't. They couldn't get around to it. Maybe you didn't have the money for it because you spent all your money on alcohol or time. Drinking takes up a lot of time. So, all right. Thank y'all for being here. I appreciate it. I love you. You know I do. Peace out. And